All right, everybody, welcome to the Fox 10 News Now stream. We got some behind-the-scenes live for you right now, right outside second presidential debate. Let's get you caught up, though. We have Steve Kraft and John Hook live right now. Let's go to them. John Hook and Steve Kraft, welcome, guys.
Hey, Mike. How are you?
What's up, Iron Mike?
Hey, we're joined by Mary Kate as well, and this is going to be a real...
How about Ashley? Is Ashley there too?
Ashley's there too.
She's sick, John. You know Ashley's
She's never heard that
today.
before. She's never, ever heard that. She's never heard that before.
I couldn't resist.
So, and you know what, John and Steve, there hasn't been too much buildup for the second debate, has there?
No, none at all. I mean, really, this has been a sleeper this week. I think nobody's going to watch, probably. There's nothing interesting going on tonight. No.
Yeah.
I think we're in uncharted territory. I mean, this week, the last 48 hours, I think have kind of turned the race on its head. And for Donald Trump, he is frankly on the ropes. He's got to deliver tonight. He probably lost the first debate, if we're going to be honest about it.
Yeah.
And with the trajectory of the race, and he's trailing by, probably 5 points nationally and in the battleground states, with this revelation, Steve, I mean, it's kind of do or die tonight. I think this is the critical moment.
And it's not just for the presidency. It's for what they call down ballot races. It's for control of the U.S. Senate. It's for preserving a majority in the House of Representatives, which is why you've seen Paul Ryan, Speaker of the House, not quite sure what to do. He's denouncing Donald Trump. He's supporting Donald Trump. He wants the Donald Trump voters to continue to hang with the party. He wants to make things right for the people who dislike Donald Trump. He's really stuck.
He's stuck.
He had this big event in Wisconsin. He disinvited Donald Trump. Then Pence was going to go. Then Pence didn't go. And this is all the same party.
Even Mike Pence, his running mate, has said that he can't defend these comments. Mike Pence is an evangelical Christian Republican who cannot be put in a position where he can defend this. I mean, he can't. So Donald Trump has seen some abandonment within his own party. And we mentioned from Condoleezza Rice to John McCain, to Mike Lee in Utah. I mean,
remember, these are people who don't like him anyway.
No, that's true. That's true. Or their support has been
a lot of people still like Donald Trump.
Soft.
A lot of people still like Donald Trump.
That's right.
They think the media, not us, is picking on him somehow.
No, they think we are too.
Okay, they think you are picking on Donald Trump.
Yeah. I'm not picking on Donald Trump. Here's the thing. I've interviewed Trump twice now, and found him to be a very affable guy and very likable guy. Never had any issues with Donald Trump at all.
He didn't grope you in any way.
He did not grope me in any way. And I think there are people who support Donald Trump who are rightfully angry that they feel that the networks are dancing on his grave tonight and taking great joy in seeing the dismantling of Donald Trump because they've got an agenda.
Right, and not paying attention to all the problems that Hillary Clinton has.
That's right.
All this business about her cozying up to Wall Street and being in favor of trade deals that she says she's against, and her email stuff.
This would have been a huge story had the Donald Trump secret tape not come out.
Which goes to show you that anything sexual takes precedence over anything else.
Well, on that score, and we're going to talk about this tonight, how do you think Donald Trump pivots from his own indiscretions, or at least what he calls locker room banter, to Bill Clinton's true indiscretions, where he really did have affairs and sexual relationships with women?
Well, we're talking about not just affairs, but allegedly, sexual assaults.
Right.
I mean, in the case of Trump, and I guess arguably in the case of Bill Clinton, he may say, he's got two ways to go. One is to apologize and to rely on the goodwill of the American people and the fact that we all love redemption stories. The other way that Donald Trump, I think, will more likely go is to start out humble and in about 10 minutes become an attack dog, because he just can't help it. It's in his DNA. He's going to take on Hillary and Bill.
And we're hearing from John Podesta, Hillary Clinton's guru, that she's going to go hard on him on these topics, probably to try to draw him out and get him into a fight where he looks less than presidential. That's a risk also.
It is a risk for her to get into that, because I think her tendency is going to want to be to kind of skate above it and let him do all the talking, because it's worked pretty well for her so far. If they're both slugging it out and they're both rolling around in the mud, neither one of them is going to look good.
You know what's lost in this is that we're in a town hall style debate where these are uncommitted voters and they will ask half the questions. This is a very It's a very small crowd, very few seats in there. This could get so uncomfortable for people at home and the people in that room if that's where we descend tonight. And I think it's probably impossible to get around that topic tonight. It's going to be there. It's going to come up. And for those people in the room and for people at home, it's going to be terribly uncomfortable.
Do you think anybody actually will ask questions about, hey, I just graduated college, I've got $40,000 in debt, how am I going to get a decent job? I mean, isn't that where a lot of people are? Are we going to get to that point? I sure hope we do.
I don't know if
I
we'll
think
get
that's
there.
where most people are. Yeah.
And John and
I don't
Steve,
either.
you know, I was thinking before last week, going into this debate, it would have seemed like Donald Trump would have had the advantage because of the town hall style, but now it just seems like they're going to be. This is all it's going to be about is the sexual nature of it.
I'm not sure the town hall debate style is actually an advantage for Donald
No,
Trump.
it's a
I really
big
don't think
disadvantage.
it's an advantage, Mike. We both agree on that. My feeling about it is just that it doesn't play particularly well because you really have to show empathy and connection to the people in that crowd. Donald Trump in the primaries has fed primarily off the energy of a big crowd where he can stand on a podium. When the podium's removed, these folks, politicians who've done it, they will tell you, you feel naked without that podium. It's
He's
a
had
very different
little
thing.
practice.
Right.
He had kind of a practice session in New Hampshire a few days ago for about a half an hour, kind of cut it short.
And they forced it upon him.
They forced it upon him, and he hasn't really, in this whole swirl of controversy, I don't think had a lot of time to really figure out what to do tonight. Do you?
No, I think his own people from within his own camp, Mike, there's been a discussion that there's frustration, that they wanted him to prep harder, they wanted him to prep for this particular style of debate, and that he's really been resistant and reluctant to do it. He just doesn't like it. He wants to wing it. Now, winging it and going on instinct is a great thing,
If
but
you're a jazz musician,
maybe so. I think there is
John
some.
Coltrane.
There's a reason we have the adage, practice makes perfect. There is some wisdom in practicing and getting better at a skill that you don't do every day.
And Hillary's done this many dozens of times
Right.
for decades. She's super experienced in this format, and he's a complete novice, pretty much.
And that's where I think Steve and I are in agreement that this doesn't particularly play well for Trump. And as the debates unfolded and he struggled in debate one to look like he had command of his facts, she looked very in control of her facts and very comfortable up there. Then you go to this town hall, which going into it before all of this tape came out, I thought it didn't, the lineup just didn't play very well for Trump because he had to go into a format where he wasn't particularly comfortable. We'll see tonight if he can pull a rabbit out of his hat, but I think that's what he's got to do tonight. He's got to pull a miracle off.
Although he has 12 years on The Apprentice.
That's right.
So he knows his way around a TV camera, and he knows how to command a stage. He knows how to keep attention. He won the nomination, and there are a lot of Americans who love him. So we don't want to underestimate him.
No, I agree, but on The Apprentice, as you know, I mean, at any given moment, it's taped. You could say, I don't like that, let's do it again. You don't have that luxury in 90 minutes where you're walking the wire.
That's true, and that could be a difficult thing for him. And she's done this so many times, and she watched her husband do it, so she's been there.
The one thing I will say is that within the Hillary Clinton camp, some of her people discuss how she's a terrible front runner. They say that she usually has her worst moments when she's sitting on a lead because she's risk averse and she sits on the lead. This will be interesting that now it looks like it's going her way. Could she step in it that we don't expect? And that's the intrigue of 90 minutes where you don't have a net.
That's why this is going to be like the Super Bowl in terms of the audience, or the Ali Frazier fight too.
Could this outdo the audience from 2 weeks ago? I don't think so because of NFL and Major League Baseball. There are other interests out there.
There are, but if you followed that first debate, you're going to want to follow this one, right? I think it'll be a massive, massive audience.
Well,
So,
you guys,
Mike, I wonder,
and
are people
speaking
are
of the debates? I mean, John, you and I talked about this for a while, that he's not used to this town hall sort of format. Do you think this could possibly be his last debate since he's been eaten up in the media so much? Do you think there's a possibility that he would drop out?
Well, he told the Wall Street Journal, number one, about the race, I will never quit. There's zero chance that he's going to quit. Walking away from a debate, saying, I'm not going to do the third debate, this is a joke, I think that's fraught with problems. I don't think he can do that.
He did walk away from a debate earlier.
That's true.
Remember in the primary campaign, I think in Iowa. I think that's where it was. But anyway, no, he's committed. He's going to do all three debates. His name's going to stay on the ballot. He's going to still get his 40% plus of the votes, I think, probably. But the battle's for that 5 to 8% that's going to decide the race in a big way.
Right. And that's where he's got to try to grab those people. And that's why what's happened in the last 48 hours, at a time when he really needs to grab some uncommitted voters, it's become a real problem for him that he's distracted by all this. It's also interfered with any kind of debate prep he was going to do. They were in damage control most of the weekend at a time when Donald Trump probably should have been working on debate prep. Now, we're not saying this thing is over. We've still got a month, but people are casting their ballots right now around the country. And that's the problem is, if somebody was on the fence, Steve, and they said, I'm intrigued with Donald Trump, but I have questions, I'm not sure that he's done a lot in these last 2 weeks to answer those questions or soothe voters' fears who might be concerned about him.
I think he's been staying on talking points and slogans. And I think that was the problem in the first debate. And if he just does that in this debate too, build a wall, rip up trade agreements, the same slogans we've heard without really actually answering people's questions in a thoughtful way, in an empathetic way, I think he's going to really come across badly in this debate. But I'm wondering, Mary Kate and Mike, are people sending in questions to you guys back at Fox News Now, things they want us to talk about, questions they have for us?
Yes, we've been in the chat room and also on our Twitter accounts they've been tweeting, but we have one where, do you think that Hillary Clinton going into this second debate now, with what happened this past week, do you think that she could kind of just coast right through this and just really not have too much pressure at all on her?
In other words, can you play rope-a-dope through the whole thing?
Yeah,
can you just kind of
sit there and serenely smile? She did a lot of that in the first debate, and it really worked for her.
I don't think that can happen, Mike, for the reason that the people in the audience and the moderators are going to directly ask her questions, and she's got to get up off that stool, and she's got to walk to them and engage them. She can't just kind of sit back and run the clock out. I think she's in a situation in this style where you have to interact and you have to empathize and you have to connect with the people asking the questions. So I don't think she can really do that in this style debate.
But I think she's probably going to be very relaxed. She's a total pro in this format. She's done it a lot. And some of her best debate performances have been in the town hall style rather than behind the lectern style. She did a lot of them in the primary. So, I think Trump's going to really have his hands full tonight.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing that we've talked about a lot on this trip as we've headed out here to Washington University, is that for Donald Trump, the way the campaign's kind of going, he needs to change the trajectory of it. And so far, with the events we've seen in the last 48 hours, it's only made his situation messier, not better. And so at a time when maybe a good debate performance would have maybe rescued him, he's got a lot of hills to climb here, Steve.
And I cannot wait for the behind-the-scenes documentary of Inside the Trump Campaign, win or lose, after this election is done. I would love to have been a fly on the wall in Trump Tower on Friday night when all this was coming down. What on earth were they talking about going forward?
Right, with the Rudy Giulianis and the Chris Christies and the guys who were trying to get his ear in to say, look, we got to debate prep. We've got to get ready. Chris Christie apparently really has been trying to work him over, even kind of stealthily, throwing things at him when they're just milling around, trying to get him focused and on message. He's in a tough spot. There's no doubt about it.
But he's a unique talent. I never underestimate Donald Trump.
That's true.
And guys, to borrow a poker term, do you think Donald Trump will pretty much have to go all in today for the debate? And I mean, like, just let it loose.
I think maybe so. He's got to push his chips on the table. Yeah. He can't get schooled tonight, and the clock's running on him. I mean, he's got 30 days or less than 30 days. He's got to do something to change the dynamic, and that, to me, and we both agree, this puts Donald Trump, I think, in attack dog mode, because that's his default position.
It is.
That's where he naturally gravitates toward, and I think that's where he ends up tonight.
It's his intellectual comfort food. It's his macaroni and cheese. That's what he loves to do, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So, and you know what? I mean, if you're Hillary Clinton, I don't care where you're standing right now. If you know he's going to do that, boy, that would put you on your heels a little bit, because you're thinking, oh man, I got to be ready for anything. Mm-hmm. So she's got a task too. It's not. This is no slam dunk, but he's in a tough spot.
Yeah,
you
agreed.
guys,
It's going to be
I want to ask
interesting to see.
one question just about what everyone is obviously talking about, the leaked audio from him chatting with Billy Bush. Do you think she'll mention it at all, or do you think that she will just go in confident knowing that he really screwed up with that audio? Or do you think she'll mention it? Do you think she'll say, well, given the way you
I
speak
understand
about
it's
women,
the first question tonight.
Yeah. It's going to be the first question.
It's going to be the first
It will
question
be
tonight.
the first question, probably asked, I'm thinking, by an audience member, or
I
maybe
don't
by the
know.
moderator.
Maybe it'll start with Martha Raddatz
maybe
or
Martha Raddatz or Anderson Cooper, just getting it out of the way.
Yeah,
right out of the gate.
Get it, I mean, you know,
Get it on, get it over with.
Yeah, I think we're going to hear it early, and we'll see how Trump handles it. And that is a really critical moment, whether people feel that he's being contrite enough, that he's truly understands how this is playing out there.
Because a lot of people are very deeply offended by that.
Right.
Very much so. So he's got to deal with that right out of the gate.
But there is a group of people out there that feel like, yeah, this is locker room banter, and it was off camera, and it was said behind closed doors in a way. And people say a lot of things behind closed doors that they wouldn't dare say on television. And this leaked audio now for 2 election cycles has bitten the Republican candidate pretty hard. The 47% with Mitt Romney, and now this with Donald Trump. I mean, they've gotten stung by this now twice.
And you have to wonder also, for voters, do you get a little bit tired of sort of, we're away from the issues right now for like days at a time. Is there going to be a hunger for people who really want some actual answers about where the candidates are going to take the country? Are we going to get there in this debate?
I'd like to think that's what people wanted, but I think the big number that we saw tune in a couple of weeks ago was really an indication that people were looking forward to a barroom brawl. That's what they wanted. That's why they tuned in, because it was entertainment. Yeah. And I think we're going to get some of that tonight.
You'll get it. For sure. It'll be entertaining. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Okay, we have one final question here that was sent in to us. Is there any way, do you guys think, any way that Donald Trump can gain any momentum tonight after the debate?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely. There's no question he can. It's possible. I mean, we could be talking about an entirely different story tonight. I mean, who knows what can happen out there? Yes, that's possible. Of course it is. That's why you have the debate. That's why you play the game. As we've got a football field over there. It's the same thing. You know, you can call it before the contest, and then when the contest happens, you got to play the game, and that's what happens tonight. Hillary Clinton may step in it. She may not answer these questions about the secret discussions with Wall Street and the bankers and what she was saying in private versus what she was telling voters. You know, that could come out and she may fumble that answer. So who knows what we'll be talking about afterwards.
She's such a veteran player, though, ball player, that I think that she's going to have that one figured out. I think they've been practicing for the last couple days since that all came out on Friday.
How do we answer it?
How to answer that. So she'll be real smooth on that. She'll probably apologize for a little bit, and then she'll probably say we've got to balance keeping our economy vibrant with protecting workers as well. I've learned a lot being out there talking to regular Americans just like you guys. And so I think she's going to shade her answer so she deals with that problem, that inconsistency, and at the same time reassures people that she really has their best interests at heart.
I think the bottom line is, guys, that for Donald Trump it's a much more important night. Hillary already has one debate kind of under her belt where she performed pretty well. And Donald Trump's performance, described by most as a little bit uneven, and that's putting it mildly. So tonight for him, there's a sense among his own people. It's kind of a make or break moment.
And that is why we will all be watching. Thank you so much to John Hook and Steve Kraft for being live for us in St. Louis. We'll check in with you guys later.
You got it.
You got it.
All right, everybody. And you know what? A little bit later, we are just about less than 2 hours away from our coverage of the debate. It's going to be something.
Yes, I'm excited. It should be a crazy debate.
And coming up at 5:30, we are, well, in 2 hours, we're going to have the debate coach on.
Okay.
And really, he's going to be kind of breaking down what we can expect for this town hall style.
Yeah, that'll be
much
exciting.
different than the first one.
Yeah, and the techniques that they use and everything. So
it'll be
great.
interesting. So we hope that you join us on our very special stream starting at 5:15. It's going to be something you're going to watch, and we will discuss live.